morning. My name is Nina Hentz, and I am your worship associate this morning. Thank you for coming out on this icky cold day when we'd all rather be bundled up by a fire and nice warm blankets. Welcome to those of you who are here with us in person at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Roanoke. We extend a special welcome to those of you joining us for the first time. Please join us for coffee and social time in the fellowship hall after the service. We also say welcome to those joining us on YouTube. If you have joys and concerns you would like to share, please type them into the chat feature in the next 15 minutes so they can be shared during Lifelines. One other short blurb is that we do not have our screen words today, so we're going old school today. Our minister is the Reverend Walter LaFleur, and this morning's service is "The Past is Not History." Please take a moment to check your cell phones, make sure that they are on silent. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you express your identity, whatever your situation in life, whatever your experience of the holy, as you come seeking love, your presence here is a gift. Whether you are filled with sadness, overflowing with joy, needing to be alone with yourself, or eager to engage with others, all who welcome all are welcome here. At UUCR, we commit to supporting each other with respect and direct communication as we work in community to explore spiritual growth and to be a force for good in the world.
This is called Good Morning Melody. That's what it's called in English. And it is by Zbigniew Preisner, who is a Polish composer.
Thank you, Carrie. What a wonderful way to begin the morning. In the book of Exodus, a story is told about God speaking to Moses. Moses was keeping his father-in-law's sheep. He had led the sheep to Horeb, the mountain of God. The Bible says, there the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire out of a bush. He looked, and the bush was blazing, yet not consumed. When Moses took a closer look to see why the bush wasn't burning up, he heard his name being called. He said, "Here I am." Then he heard, "Come no closer. Remove the sandals from your feet, for the place on which you are standing is holy ground." Sometimes we need to be told when we're standing on holy ground or sacred ground, because that which is sacred is not always obvious. There's a song called "A Sacred Place," written and sung by a member of my prior congregation. And the song says, "This place is sacred because of the kindness shown and the love we bring, the fellowship we share, and a listening ear to show how much we care."
May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, O Spirit of life.
Good morning. I'd like to invite young folks up to join me to read a book about a very special experience. So come on down. And as usual, adults who do not come down, I will leave this book actually in this chair for you to see these illustrations. This is a very special book that was given to me when I graduated from kindergarten. And I've had this book right here since I graduated from kindergarten. Move this microphone a little closer so folks who need to can hear me. It's called When the Sun Rose, and it was written by Barbara Helen Berger. She also drew all of the pictures. And she dedicated it to her dear friend Sherry. When the sun rose today, a friend came to visit me. She came in a carriage bright as the sun. Even the stones in the road were shining. Can you see the stones glowing? Her lion stopped at my gate. It's a beautiful lion. Then she got out of her carriage and came to my door. I opened it and said, "Come in." The lion came in with her. I was afraid. Yet his feet were quiet as sunlight on the floor, and my whole playhouse was warm. We sat down and had some honey cake and tea. The lion had blueberries with cream. It looks delicious, doesn't it? I would love a honey cake. Then our dolls traded dresses. The lion purred. And we made rainbows all day. And for those of you who can't see it, they're painting rainbows. And look, There's a magical rainbow right over their friendship. That's kind of cool. Then my friend had to say goodbye. Her carriage was gold as sunset. Will you come again? I asked. Yes, she said. I promise. All the way I watched her going home. Even the stones had long shadows. Now it's dark. My friend is gone. But she will keep her promise, I know, for the rainbow we made still shines on the wall. And my house is full of roses. So, who do you think that friend was? The sun, maybe. Who else could it be? Could it just be like a friend? Yeah, absolutely. And we always have memories when our friends leave. My friends usually leave like their stuff, sometimes their earrings. It's never really roses. Wish they left me roses. My mom always leaves a pair of earrings in my bathroom. But the time that we spend together is very important. And when we talk about things being sacred, things being holy, we're going to do that a little upstairs too. It's these experiences that we have with each other that makes them important when we make those rainbows, whether it's on a piece of paper or it's the one that arches over us as we play. We're going to head upstairs, make some cool new memories, and think about some older ones. We're going to write out that door right there. Let's do it.
So today's reading is really deep. So I'm going to read it very slowly for two reasons. One, there's a lot in it to unpack, and the other is there's a lot of L's in it. I don't do well with L. It's called Faith Without Certainty by Paul Razor, page 11. The traditional liberal emphasis on individual autonomy contributes not only to problems of individual identity, but also difficulties in sustaining group identity and denominational commitments. For example, liberals have often overlooked valuable resources from their own tradition, ironically. However, their very insistence on individual autonomy is itself deeply rooted in tradition. When we insist too much on our own independence, it's easy to forget that we are still products of our cultures and that our worldviews come from somewhere. Identity issues can arise out of the liberal commitment to free and open inquiry and the liberal understanding that religious truths are not fixed. Liberals tend to hold religious ideas with a kind of open-mindedness. They realize, for example, that experience can always be reinterpreted, that ideas and actions that seem good today may turn out to be misguided, and that particular religious doctrines are likely to change over time. It can make us reluctant to state with conviction who we are. This open-mindedness can also make us reluctant to commit ourselves too deeply to anything, whether a belief or plan of action, leading to reluctance to commit to the liberal religious movement itself. Unfortunately, for many liberals, depth is wrongly equated with narrowness. This brings to mind the warning offered by liberal theological ethicist James Luther Adams many years ago, that the liberal commitment to openness can produce the mind that is simply open at both ends.
The past isn't dead. It isn't even past. One of Faulkner's best-known lines from Requiem for a Nun. And in 2008, Barack Obama used the same line in his A More Perfect Union speech. An unidentified book critic said Faulkner is too easily pigeonholed as being about race or about the fall of the South. But both of those miss the point. Faulkner is about the past and the struggle to both accept it as part of oneself and to continue into the future. I like that interpretation of Faulkner, and I want to walk in those shoes this morning, to accept the past as part of ourselves and continue into future. I want us to focus on Unitarian Universalism as it is today. My hope is to dig into our history so that we might recognize the past and accept it, learn from it, and to build on it for a better tomorrow and into our collective future. I'm going to quote heavily from the Reverend Mark Harris's pamphlet. Mark was a very special history teacher that I studied with at Andover Newton Theological School. He was an excellent teacher. He was also a minister of a local congregation. He wrote, "Unitarians and Universalists have always been heretics. We're heretics because we want to choose our faith. Heresy in Greek means choice. During the first 3 centuries of the Christian church, believers could choose from a variety of tenets about Jesus. Among these was a belief that Jesus was an entity sent by God on a divine mission. Thus, the word Unitarian developed, meaning the oneness of God. Another religious choice in the first 3 centuries of the Common Era was universal salvation. This was the belief that no person would be condemned by God to eternal damnation in a fiery pit. Thus, the Universalists believed that all people could be saved, not would be, but could be. I'm going to jump over centuries of Unitarian Universalist history in Europe to our American shores. In Puritan New England, each town was organized around a church. It's the same church that still sits on many town greens today if you run around New England. All residents of the town paid a tax for the minister's salary, while church membership required a confession of Christian faith. The minister was responsible for the spiritual leadership of the church and the moral order of the entire community. Reverend Harris explains, free from the authority of the bishops of the English churches, the idea of a free church took shape among the people. A church whose individual congregations were controlled by no outside authority. Over a number of decades in New England, radically lay-led churches gathered by mutual consent rather than by mutual belief, founded in covenant rather than creed, and governed by the congregation itself. By not holding varied theological beliefs, they were able to gather based on their belief that churches should be self-governing. Self-governing and gathered in the spirit of mutual love. Now, this form of congregational policy became documented and known as the Cambridge Platform. It defined matters of church officers, ministry, membership, and cooperation between churches. Although changes in practice were being made as early as the second generation, it remains a defining document of Unitarian Universalism. That was all quoted from Mark. I want to pay particular attention to this concept of the Cambridge Platform. It's the foundation of our governing practices. At its core, it says, we are self-governing organizations gathered in the spirit of mutual love, which defines matters of church officers, ministry, membership, and the cooperation between the churches. Self-governing organizations gathered in the spirit of mutual love, which defines matters of church officers, ministry, membership, and cooperation between the churches. Now, maybe it's just me, but I think we tend to clip the ends off of the thing called the Cambridge Platform. I suspect we've come to know and become tethered to a shortened version of it, but not the full meaning. We focus on the part about self-governing organizations, and we tend to drop out in the spirit of mutual love. We tend to focus on our right to define church officers, ministry, and membership, and our right to independent thought and belief. Boy, did we hang on to that one. A right to independent thought and belief. One of our UU curricula says, covenant is the silk that joins Unitarian, Universalist congregations, communities, and individuals gathered in a web of interconnectedness. The practice of promising to walk together is the precious core of our creedless faith. It says covenant is both a noun and a verb. It can be a written agreement among individual community members, promising to believe in certain ways, and it can mean to engage in mutual promises with spirit, with other people and other communities. We would do well to emphasize covenant as a verb, to engage in mutual promises with spirit, with other people and other communities. The action part. Like so many things in life, it's the doing that matters, not so much what we call it. It's the verb part that truly makes a difference in our connection to one another, in our connection with other UU congregations, our connection with the larger community in which we exist. It's the doing that matters. American Universalism and American Unitarianism both grew up in the mid-1700s. Unitarian congregations emerged in New England as a rejection of Calvinism, with a belief in free human will and the loving benevolence of God. A significant number of Unitarians lived in the greater Boston area and were primarily recognized as the well-off business people, businessmen, Harvard graduate elites. The earliest preachers of the gospel of universal salvation, termed Universalism, appeared primarily in the mid-Atlantic and the southern states and the rural sections of New England. Through biblical study, they discovered a new revelation of God's loving redemption. Redemption of all. Universalism challenged its members to reach out and to embrace people whom society had often marginalized. And as such, Universalism was a more evangelical faith than Unitarianism. After officially organizing in 1793, the Universalists spread their faith across the eastern United States and Canada. A fun saying, and you've heard me say it before, and you'll hear me say it again. It's been around since, I don't know when, a long time. It says, Unitarians believe they are too good to be damned, while Universalists believe God is too good to damn his own people. Universalists believe God is too good to damn people, and Unitarians believe they are too good to be damned. May have some correlation with Harvard and elitism or something, just maybe. I want to suggest that construct has legs, even to today. Socioeconomic status does impact one's position in life, and therefore their view and their experience of the world. The Universalists, on the other hand, believed in a God who embraced everyone, and that worth and dignity innate to all people, regardless of sex, color, race, or class. That was and is the theory, even if imperfectly manifested. Now, I have long believed we need to hold up our Universalist heritage more than our Unitarian belief system. Because, after all, as is said, the past is not history. The past is never dead. It's not even past. As was said about Faulkner, we need to be about the past and the struggle to both accept it as part of oneself and to continue into the future. I want now to point to what I've come to believe is the Achilles heel of Unitarian Universalism. You don't have to buy it, but I've come to believe it. It's what I believe keeps us from having a larger presence in the public square, a bigger impact on our life and our communities. And I dare fear keeps us from having a deeper spiritual connection with one another and with the interconnected web of all existence. I believe we would benefit by revisiting that thing called the Cambridge platform, dust it off if needed, in order to place increased value, an increased awareness and commitment to this thing we call covenant. Gathered in the spirit of mutual love. We do well to place greater emphasis, pay more attention to the notion of gathered in the spirit of mutual love. I fear we've placed such an emphasis on self and independent choice that we've weakened the power of our belief in each person's inherent worth and dignity, in our belief in universal salvation, that everybody can be saved, reconciled with the all. We don't need to give up choice in order to make this shift in orientation. We merely need to accept that every choice makes a different choice less likely. Successful couples at some point make the shift from what's good for me and the I to what's best for us and the we. Successful couples make that change. As long as each or even one member of the couple is primarily focused on the I, the relationship is diminished. And I think that analogy fits for us, the congregation, for us as a denomination. As long as the primary focus is on I, the we is diminished. If we place a high priority on maximizing the power of our beliefs, we should choose to be in covenantal relationship with other UUs, both near and those far away. For we know there is power in numbers. So I want us to choose to maximize a belief in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. I'd like us to choose to enhance a reality of justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. The goal of world community with peace, with liberty, and justice for all. Let's enhance the world's respect for the interdependent web of all existence, the we. And let our spirits be fed by our connections, built on mutual trust and love. It may begin with us, begin with each of us honoring, with each of us valuing our interconnectionness, and gathered in the spirit of mutual love. Let that be our collective tether, to honor and support each other's search for truth and meaning, with a primary focus on the we rather than the I. Unitarian Universalists are very good at I, me, and mine, and independentness. We're not so good at mutuality, and the we, which undermines this whole notion of universalism. That's my hope. That's my prayer. Join me in that search, in that endeavor. Today is a new day, following yesterday and leading into tomorrow. And as such, the work of the church continues and needs to be fed. We'll take up an offering to feed the work of the church. We could have gone around twice. We're blessed that you're here, and this is to feed the work of this church. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Terry Smith, not Jane Harrison. I've stolen her role for the sharing of lifelines today. Our caring committee helps to chronicle the joys and the concerns of this congregation. And if you'd like to share information, this book is available throughout the week. On Sundays, we bring it to the altar table, or it stays in the alcove next to the name tag board during the week. This morning, there is nothing new to report in our Lifelines book. I would like to speak without having her permission first about our dear friend, Bonnie Nelson. Am I clear to do this? If Teresa says it's okay, I'll do it. Some of you may know Bonnie Nelson had a pacemaker implanted at the very end of December. And she returned home this week after spending 3 nights in the hospital. And I'm happy to report that it was a successful procedure. She's taking it very easy, as much as the Energizer Bunny takes it easy. And many in the congregation have stepped forward to provide her with food and companionship as she moves through this new stage of recovery. So let us all keep Bonnie Nelson and her wonderful band of supporters in our thoughts as we move through this week. And now I invite you, if you have a private joy or concern in your heart that you would like to recognize silently, please come forward at this time to light a candle.
I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. No matter where you go, no matter where you've been, you'll never walk alone. I feel you deep within. So I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. No matter what you feel or what you choose to show, I'm always there for you. And so I want you to know that I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I walk the path with you. Go slow, dear one, don't hurry. I'll go just like you need to go. There's no need to worry, 'cause I am sending you light to hold you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love.
May our hearts be filled with peace as we move into the new week.
Join me in a time of prayer, meditation, reflection. Dear one, known as God to many, by higher power, inner knowing, and by no name at all, be with us. Be with us here and now. Help us to recognize that which simply is, and that how we interpret, name, and experience it is of our own making. Help us to not be so sure about our beliefs and non-beliefs about God, however defined, and certainly guide us away from making judgment about another's relationship with their God. Help us to not be so sure we figured this all out and have no need for further analysis, further reflection. Help us to not be so sure we've arrived at an unchanging conclusion, even as life unfolds before us. Amen.
All right, we've got this figured out.
We've done this before.
Yeah. So, Family Promise, as many of you might remember, we were honored a few weeks ago with a plaque from that organization. We'll be kicking off the new year, and for us, our first week of commitment is February the 5th. It's a little different this year, and we're still trying to work it out. I have 2 other congregations that I'll be coordinating with, but it looks like we will have 2 nights of at least 2 families to feed, and then breakfast items at the same time that we would deliver. So I will be happy. I will do the deliveries to the duplex and the extra house. We are not yet spending the night or eating with the families, but I will be sending out, many of you volunteered a few weeks ago. I will be sending out an email this week to grab you and pull you in. Teresa, you want to do Williams? Well, Teresa's coming up here. I want to remind you to grab a cup of coffee today and stick around and help us deconstruct Christmas after the service. I know, it's sad, all the sparkles.
As y'all remember, Dr. Perkins came and his organization did some training here, and we had required 35 people so that we could earn an AED donated to us. And with the events of the last week with the Buffalo Bills football player, a very young, healthy man, he fortunately had well-trained people there helping him out in that emergency, and also had an AED, which contributed to saving his life. And Dr. Perkins' group is reaching out to Black churches in our community to help them be able to get an AED for their congregations. I really admire that he created this organization. As an emergency room physician, he was very tired of having to go out and tell people that their loved ones would not be going home because they had passed away. So this is a very active program that he has developed to try to reach out and change those experiences for a lot of families. Because we have been working with Williams Memorial on the Pledge to End Racism, we were able to connect him and that congregation. They're going to be having their AED training next Saturday, starting at 12:30. That's a small congregation. They are not sure that they can get the 35 members, but Pastor Jones has been, Bill told me today that he put it on Facebook. I need my caffeine, to try to, and also sent some emails to try to recruit other churches that would participate next Saturday. As a backup plan, we want to be able to just have 10 people of our congregation be on call. We'll trying to get the details pinned down, that they may need some numbers to be at their AED training so that they can earn the free AED. So if anybody is interested, if you could see me after the service, I just need your name, email, and your phone number, and we'll try to get things pinned down. The Living the Question group was able to come up with 3 people this morning. So if anybody else could help, it would very much be appreciated. Well, it's kind of late. Yeah. We're going to have to do an
UCR Connects.
Yeah, we're going to have to do kind of more like an email blast
Yep.
because by Thursday, it'll be too late.
Yep.
Yeah.
I lost my phone. I don't know if anybody might have picked it up on the stage.
Beth just said she lost her phone. When did you lose it, Beth? Do we know? Oh, no. If anyone finds it, we will let you know. And that is all the announcements that I have. Does anyone else have one? Because we didn't get any formal announcements today. Is there anything we left out? Okey-doke.
This is the day we've been given. Be glad that we have the ability to enjoy it with others. Go into your week in peace.
Okay, this is uncomfortable. This is a song by Holly Near called Planet Called Earth. And I'm going to tell you a little story she tells when she sings this song. And then I'm going to ask for you to participate with the percussion. That's not part of the song. So when Holly sings this song, she tells the story about there was a cellist who went out onto the square in Sarajevo when bombs were dropping and playing the cello. And somebody from the press came up and said, "Why are you playing your cello when there are bombs dropping?" And the cellist said, "Why are they dropping bombs when I'm playing my cello?" Which is far more logical, I think, of a question. So I'm going to sing this song. It's a cappella. And so I'm going to have some help so that I can hide behind your percussion. So what I would like is when I give the signal, if some of you, and I won't assign, you can just choose which one you want to do. When I go like this, some of you are going to clap on 1 and 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and you just keep clapping until you get tired. Okay, and then others of you, when I give the signal for snapping, I cannot snap. So I'm sure everybody can snap better than I can. You snap on 2 and 4. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. You won't be doing both of those. You'll pick one. And others of you will be doing the brushes all the time. 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. Whichever one it works best for you. Okay, and I'll give you a signal. We'll kind of build it. If I forget, just start doing a part. Okay. This is called Planet Called Home. Okay. And I might or might not use the tambourine, depending on how I feel about it, how it's going. Okay. Can you call on your imagination as if telling a myth to a child? Put in the fantastical, wonderful, magical, add the romantic, the brave, and the wild. Once upon a time, there was a power so great that no one could know its name. People tried to claim it and rule with it. Always such arrogance ended in shame. Thousands of years would pass in a moment. Hundreds of cultures would come and go. each generation with a glorious calling. Even then, they were too busy to know. Then one day, after 2 millennia, which after all was a small part of time, hundreds of souls found their way out of nowhere to be on earth at the threat of decline. Let's all go, they moved as one being, even though they would arrive here alone. They promised to work in grace with each other to brave this beautiful planet called home. There was no promise that they could save it, but how exciting to give it a try. If each of them did just one thing beautifully, complex life on earth might not die. And so they arrive in a spectrum of colors, the population on earth that explode. Some threw themselves in front of disaster, others slowly carried their load. Some adopted small girls from China, some lived high in the branches of trees. Some died as martyrs, some lived as healers, some bravely walked with a dreadful disease. They mingled among each class and culture. Not one of them could be identified, but together they altered just enough moments to help the lost and the terrified, to step outside our egos and bodies, to know once that we truly are one. Then quickly we would forget to remember, but that's okay, their job was well done. And Earth went on for another millennium, and now it's time for my song to end. This magical story of hope and wonder invites you all to wake up and pretend to be fabulous creatures sent from the power, souls that have come with a purpose in mind, to do one little thing that will alter the outcome, and maybe together we can do it in time. Can you call on your imagination as if telling a myth to a child? Put in the fantastical, wonderful, magical, add the romantic, the brave and the wild. The souls are coming back, the souls are coming back, the souls are coming back.